Okay, here's a great question. Why, when oil cost $80 a barrel in 2010, was gas $2.35 a gallon, or 40% cheaper? Today it's $3.31 a gallon. So first of all, in 2010, gas was $2.79 a gallon, not $2.35. I think you're thinking of 2009 during the Great Recession. Gas did average $2.35 a gallon. Oil was like $45 a barrel. But in 2010, oil did hit $80, went over $80, and gas averaged $2.79. Still cheaper than today. So still a good question. So the answer is, or the question is, why? First of all, in 2010, we were importing like 11.7 million barrels a day of crude oil. Today, we're importing 6.5 million barrels. That makes a huge difference in cost. And this is what we import today. The reason it's a huge difference is because in 2010, when we were importing all of that oil, and oil was $80, the oil that we were importing was not $80 a barrel. $80 was the price for West Texas Intermediate. We were importing heavy sour crude from the Middle East, which was probably trading at about a $20 a barrel discount. So we were probably importing that oil for $60 a barrel. Heavy sour crude is always cheaper than light sweet crude. Today, we import heavy sour crude from Canada, Western Canadian Select, and it is typically $15 to $20 a barrel cheaper than West Texas Intermediate. All of our refineries were set up for heavy sour crude, and we were importing a ton of it. The fact that we're importing less of that now and using more of our own oil actually makes gas more expensive. It is a misnomer to think that if you import more oil, it's more expensive. Gas was always cheaper when we imported more because imported oil is much cheaper. Our oil is expensive because it's a really high grade of oil. Secondly, gas taxes since 2010. These are state and federal averages, so this is not any one state. This is the average across all the states. So in any given state, on an average, your gas taxes have gone up about 10 cents a gallon since 2010. So there's 10 cents of your price difference just in taxes. So we were importing a ton of cheap oil, and gas taxes have gone up. And the third thing is we've lost 1 million barrels a day of refining capacity. And what that means is we cannot keep as much gasoline in supply. You have your supply and demand. Well, in supply, that's what we have in inventory. And since we've lost 1 million barrels a day of refining capacity, we can't get those inventories up. And when you've lost 1 million barrels a day of refining capacity, if you have a problem, it is exponentially larger of an impact on gas prices. So we've lost 1 million barrels a day refining capacity. The refinery in Whiting, Indiana went down. That's over 400,000 barrels a day of oil. Suddenly you've lost 1.4 million barrels a day of refining capacity until that refinery is back open. And that's what's putting upward pressure on prices now. When you lose that much refining capacity, anytime refineries have to shut down for maintenance, or if a refinery goes down or anything like that happens, it has a much larger impact on the gas prices during that time. So 2010, we were using a lot more imported cheap heavy oil. The gas taxes were cheaper and we had a lot more refining capacity. That is totally different today. We're importing almost half of the oil. We're using a lot more of our oil. Gas taxes are higher. Refining capacity is lower. That means gas prices overall are higher. Great question. Thanks.